Motii acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia. We pay our respects to elders past and present and acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the first peoples of this land. Welcome to the Motii Playbook. If you've ever felt like your systems are technically in place, but somehow still feel chaotic behind the scenes, you're in the right spot. This is where we share what we're seeing, what's working, what's not, and the lessons businesses learn the hard way. Think of it as practical strategy straight from the trenches. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Motii Playbook. One shift, one system, one measurable improvement. My name's Schnell and I'm the Managing Director here at Motii. Now, most sales managers know that their teams are making calls, right? They can see it in the activity logs. They can see deals moving through the pipeline. They hear a quick update, at the very least, a summary of the conversations during the weekly meetings, right? But what they often don't know is what actually happens inside these conversations. And more importantly, what context is maybe lost as a result. So today, we will be talking a little bit more about what happens when sales conversations become more than just an activity log. So today, I'm joined by Sabrina Da Rocha, who is a senior sales manager at CloudTalk. Together, we will unpack what a lot of sales teams are missing out on and what changes when sales conversations are really properly captured. Sabrina, really great to have you with us. Now, for people hearing your name for the first time, do you mind just giving a short introduction to yourself, what CloudTalk does and who it is built for?
Yes. Hi, Fred. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure to talk to you today. So as I said, I'm Sabrina Da Rocha. That's my last name.
Okay.
So, no worries. Nobody can pronounce that correctly. It is my last name is from Brazil.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm senior sales manager here at CloudTalk, as you said, for the sales team, for the SMB team, which is our focus. CloudTalk, it started as a VoIP system, as a telephony tool, integrating with lots of CRMs, but right now we are in a AI era that we'll talk a lot about this in a moment. And CloudTalk is not out of it. It's actually one of our core products nowadays. It's the voice agent. That's basically an AI voice agent. That's what we are doing and everything that is in the intelligence behind the AI with voice. Yes, this is CloudTalk.
Very nice. So, Sabrina, you mentioned you speak to sales teams of different shapes and sizes every day, right? Right. So when you look at those businesses and those teams and how their sales teams currently use their phone systems, where do you think the biggest gaps are today?
What we are seeing a lot here, we talk to sales teams every day, and we are still in the area where people are seeing numbers and not the quality of the calls, right? What is being said there. So They are still checking, hey, my rep's doing 150 calls per day, but what are they talking there? So what can we get as information from that? And how can we be more effective and efficient on our sales motion with this information? So this is the biggest challenge that I see, that I encountered every day.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I guess a lot of sales managers listening would say that the most important point is I know these sales calls are actually happening, right? So, I mean, I see the deals progressing, my targets are being hit, happy days, right? Now, talking about, the difference between logging the fact that the calls actually happened and then, as you say, right, capturing the essence or capturing the context of the conversation. So in your view, what is the risk for a sales team when they actually don't do that?
Yeah, there are different risks, right? For us in the leadership, forecasting is super difficult in this moment because you can be forecasting something that is not correct. We have also the big risk with the AE losing the momentum with the customer. if an AE goes on a paternity leave, as I just had one now, and someone comes in and had to take all the calls, or if it's something that we need to have someone jump into this deal that was with another AE, another rep, it's super difficult to just see, okay, yeah, they had 4 calls.
Call happened. Yeah.
What happened? And then we need to rely on what they added there manually as the information. Oh, this is also a big problem in every single sales team. So I think the big risk is like losing the momentum, and also for us, it's our visibility, right?
And so, I mean, I have been in the business development and sales role myself in my career. So, and as a sales rep, you pretty much like back to back in meetings and calls all day, right? But by the time you come up for air, really the last thing you want to do is spend another hour or so writing up your notes or every conversation you had throughout the day. So the reality really is that in most cases, the sales rep ends up, well, writing the bare minimum, or then next time they talk to the client, decipher the scribbles that they have in their notebook, or simply rely on their kind of their brain memories, right? Their brain muscle memory. So Sabrina, in your view, what do you think this means for the business over time?
Yeah, this is what we are seeing right now, is that those accounts that started 5 years ago and with these notes that we have manually are completely different to the ones that we see right now if we have something that is automating that, right? So
in which respects?
Yes, because the main thing here, Fred, is to give the reps the right to just relax and talk to the customer, right? Which is something that the AI won't do for us. It is this connection, the human connection. So if they can spend the time talking to the customer, understanding the customer real problem and what we are solving there, and having good conversation, and then they are free after that because we have a summary that is there with the highlights, with exactly the points that we need, and also a transcript and all of this data that we can have nowadays, and not only a call log. This is transforming the way that we can see the deal, and also these parts, which is the human connection. So we can progress the deal easier, and also having this people buy from people, right? So that's the end. This is what we are trying to solve, that they have a relaxed conversation, not thinking about, oh, yes, I need to put this note here, or did I forget anything? Or no, this is not what we want in the end of the day, right?
Yeah. In more kind of specific terms, how does CloudTalk solve this issue? So, I mean, it's music to probably every sales rep out there to say, oh my God, I can do the calls, and then I don't have to spend the 1 or 2 hours at the end of the day to summarize all the stuff that I can't decipher anymore, kind of thing, right?
Yes.
So how does CloudTalk solve that?
So right now, CloudTalk, we have the conversation intelligence too. That is basically, it is integrated with your CRM. CloudTalk is integrating with a couple of CRMs, Pipedrive, and all the big names.
Yep.
You'll have the call logged as an activity, but with this tool, you'll also have in your CRM the summary of what happened in this call. So on top of that, you can also have something that is behind, which for sales leaders, it's the highlight here is like the coaching tool that you can see the sentiment, what happened there. And then you can also have the coaching moments a little bit more direct to the point, right?
Yeah.
And you put it all for your case, for your company, right? Your use case.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I am absolutely certain that there's a lot of businesses out there that have a telephony platform like CloudTalk, and they use the platform as basically an online phone or a smarter phone, if you like, right? So in your view, what does a team using CloudTalk really well actually looks and feels like?
Yeah, you touched on a very nice point, which is using well. right? It's like we need to put our effort there to understand the process behind and before the technology, right? So if we have the reps with an old-fashioned way of reaching out, approaching, and the technology won't do anything, right? So people that we see that really use well our platform are the teams that are thinking the technology before the technology, right? They are thinking about the outcome. So what I'm saying is that they have integrated all their tools, of course. They are talking super well. You can rely that every single call will be recorded, will be logged, you have the summary there, but they are not only leaving the data there. So the ones that we really see the outcome is the leaders that goes back and see, okay, I have my one-to-one. Let me go to coach this. I have the forecast meeting with the team. Let's check what really happened there. And this is not going through the calls and listen to all. No, it's a mix. It's a mix.
Yeah. So really also putting a lot of effort into the structure and the process and the workflows before you actually put the technology in place, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about your CloudTalk itself and the smart capabilities that CloudTalk has, which one would you say is the most underutilized of the smart capabilities?
Well, I am talking about the coaching part and the coaching part. And this is exactly where the leaders, they are not spending the right time there, because I know time management is still very, very difficult, even in the AI moments, right? This is one of them. This is what I would say is that we check the summary, we can see what happened there in the deal. But if they go to our dashboard, where we have an AI analytics dashboard, where you see from that deal exactly what happened, if your rep is talking too much, or what is the talking
ratio of
which is something very basic but very, very important. And then you can have good outcome from there, right? In the coaching moment, and also for the SDRs team, people that are doing cold calling. That is lots of our clients. It's in this field, so it's one of the tools that they should be using more.
I guess it's with every solution out there, right? That people probably use most people probably only use a fraction of what the solution is actually capable of. And particularly now, there's so many tools out there, and a lot of organizations put tools in place to fix or patch up a problem, but they're not really thinking about, okay, well, how does it fit into the wider ecosystem, and how do I actually get the most out of that technology solution, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about, the handover specifically, because I believe this is where a lot of opportunities can lose momentum. As you said, right, a sales rep goes on paternity leave or maternity or paternity leave, or is sick, right, for a few days. So what does a good handover between sales reps actually look like when the call data is properly captured?
Yes, then things are much easier here. So this example that I just gave, this rep, it needs to go from one day to another. It was planned another date, and then he lived way before, which is normal, which is something that life happens, right, in the middle of the business. And once we have all the deals there, we jump into the CRM, we check what he had, and then I was just putting the AEs, so the people that were covering this AE, they could just go there and read the summary in 2 minutes and understand where the deal was. But it's not only our tool, right? We're talking about the stages that needs to be right. It's the pipeline hygiene. And if we can make the reps life easier in this way, not only the telephony part, but the full CRM, it just works naturally. So they're not losing momentum. They can go to the next meeting knowing what exactly they need to talk.
I guess it's also, as a client, right, you feel like, okay, they actually listen to what I said in my last call. And it's not, is he or she is asking exactly the same question as the rep before, right? I've told you that information before. So you kind of pick up where it was left off, as in, okay, let's go 2 or 3 steps backwards and start from that point again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess also, from a business owner perspective, I think it's also a conversation around mitigation of operational risk, because I think it's crucial to kind of maintain that relationship history, because if it only sits in the sales rep's heads and that rep just walks out the door one day, like the entire kind of knowledge and experience and understanding of where the client relationship is just walks out the door with that person, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity will be dead in few weeks for sure. If you're going to a call that is with a CEO or a C-level of a company, and nobody has time to waste, right? So nobody wants to be there and talk about it. And sometimes we are in the late stage of the deal, and we cannot go back to where we were. They have rep. They need to be well informed and 100% informed. So same with support, same with sales. So yeah,
I totally agree. Yeah. Now you touched on a very, very important point about, the coaching side of things. And I bet everyone knows the little disclaimer you hear when you call your bank, for example. This call is being recorded for training and quality purposes. And when you think about it, right, large organizations or enterprise organizations have been doing this for years. And I guess, well, I hope not because they want to spy on people, but because they want consistency and kind of a way to continuously improve their customer experience, right? And I think historically, a lot of growing businesses or SME probably saw this as something only big enterprise companies could actually afford to do it and had the kind of the team to do it, right? But I guess technology has evolved a lot over the years. And you mentioned that CloudTalk has that kind of coaching functionality. And I also believe that most sales managers out there would absolutely love to be able to coach and support their team a lot better. But they simply don't have the time to sit next to them and listen to the conversations on the call. So, Sabrina, run me through what possibilities does that kind of coaching ability or coaching feature of CloudTalk open up that were not possible before?
Yeah, so the visibility that we have, and you touched on the right point when you're talking about the enterprise and the people. We hope that they are not there to just see what they are doing.
Yeah,
which should never be the case, right?
Should not be the focus, right?
It's not the focus. It's not the focus. And if it is, there's something wrong, right?
Correct. No, I truly believe. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. So, and there is a culture that needs to be built before that, which is the AE and the rep or the support team, that they feel comfortable in being recorded. And it's not every team that is there for that, right? So one of the first points that we see a lot is that when you have this culture, when people are comfortable in being recorded, the conversation goes better. And then you have better conversation, you have better recording, and in the end, you can coach them better, right? And we are talking about revenue in the end, because you are multiplying your opportunities because you have a better sales motion. So the point.
Why do you think the conversations become better once you know that you're being recorded? I think when it's kind of contradictory, because you would think like, oh, I'm being recorded. Whereas you're saying that the conversation actually improves. Is that because they feel like, okay, I'm being recorded, so I need to make sure that I follow my script better, or what is it?
Not really. Right now, what's happening is, and this is, I can talk about our own team here at CloudTalk. I was super surprised when I joined the company that everyone wanted to be recorded, because they don't want to do the work after. They have the
makes sense. Yeah,
They
makes
have
sense.
everything. So if they do ask the right questions, if they follow MedPick, if they follow our methodology, if they do everything they need to do, in the end, the CRM will be already
We'll
filled
take
in.
care of it.
They will take care of it.
I get it.
So it's not
So
about
you'd be
us. It's not
stupid
about
not to be
leadership.
recorded, right?
Yes. So for them, it's just like if something goes wrong and it's not being recorded, people start. It's like the phone is not working. It's like for them,
Well, it's
it's like
same as
it's
now
in
with every meeting, right? It's you've got your kind of, your fireflies, your fellow, your whatever, right? And when it doesn't start, you go, oh my god, where's my meeting recorder? Yeah,
Yes,
it's a good point.
exactly. Yeah, so that's the point. And this is natural. It has to be natural, Fred. Otherwise, people just get this feeling of I've been watching. All people will come. And when it becomes a habit that you are with your rep, you check your CI, your analytics there, you see what's happened, and then we have a real action from that. It's just like it's a career development in the end, right? We are developed and everything goes better.
And I think, you bring up a really interesting point because, an organization that is simply just logging the calls, right? I understand why a sales rep would say, well, they just want to check how many calls I'm making. Whereas if you're recording it, similar to a meeting recorder, like a video meeting recorder, right? Okay, I'll get my summary. I can go back. I can review. I get, all these things, right? But now the interesting bit, I think, is, from a leadership's point of view, that's a very interesting point because in sales, we talk about, setting KPIs. When we talk about setting KPIs, we mostly say, look, it should be activity based and not just a simple kind of revenue target. Oh, you need to provide X amount of, whatever. So it's more about the activity, which points to measuring things like calls made, follow-ups completed, conversations held, right? And don't get me wrong, I still believe from a KPI setting point of view, this is probably the best thing to do. But it is at the same time super important to remind ourselves that just because there's a lot of activity doesn't necessarily mean that the quality should not be right? And that's where I think, yes, you record the conversations to have the notes, but I think also, and that goes back into the coaching side of things, right? So once you start to see, well, okay, activity is happening, but the sales are not coming through, so you can probably start to go into the coaching side of things. Is that where the idea comes, or where the kind of the evolution is?
Yes, that's exactly where the evolution is. And the leaders that are one step behind are the ones that are seeing this working better. I mean, if you wait until the moment you need to see, okay, so there's nothing wrong with the KPIs, with the numbers. Of course not. We should have that the activities there. It's a combination. It's not changing one thing for another, right? So sometimes if you see, okay, the reps, they have the right numbers of calls and they don't have the outcome there, we need to check that before coming to this point, right? So if we need this as a habit, that's why it helps. Tools as CI at CloudTalk helps exactly with that. It's like it's a weekly thing. It's not something that you do when something goes wrong. Because it has to be as part of the process. The coaching should be part of the process. It should be part of the process there. I know it sounds a lot, who has time for that, right? It's kind of, but if you are in your one-to-ones only checking, okay, yeah, you are green lights here because you had this amount of calls, green lights here because you got this amount of meetings, and you have this amount of deals in closing. But I mean, if we don't go on the deals that are starting now with the rep, that they are in the first calls, that you could get the right steps there, multi-threading, everything that you can go a little bit deeper, it's where we help with. This is exactly where we want to evolve. So answering the question, yes, this is where we're going. It's the quality part.
So I think it's absolutely not about, controlling and checking whether you do and KPI setting. Yes, it's good to have the KPIs following, the number of activities and everything else, but it's also more optimizing and setting people up for success to say, okay, well, look, from a coaching point of view, we've listened to blah, blah, blah. These are some of the areas that you might be able to get better. So it's actually in the interest of not just the business, but also the sales rep, because, they keep on improving. They hopefully see the results coming through a bit better as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
I like it. So look, Sabrina, this brings me to my last question. And we always finish every episode with the same question to our guest. And so if a sales manager or business owner is listening to this podcast right now and is recognizing their team in this conversation, what is the one shift in thinking you would hope they take away from this conversation?
Yes, I was thinking about this question because I know this would come as is a traditional question for the podcast. And if I can summarize everything that we just said now, it is stopping seeing the numbers, so the calls logs there, only the KPIs, but seeing behind that what is the qualitative part, right? So it seems very simple, Fred, but in the end, it is something that we need to add to our day-to-day, our daily tasks. It's not something that we can just see when things go wrong. So yes. I would say, yes, if we can get the right tools to get to what is the quality behind the quantity, yes, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I think I'm absolutely in the same boat here. I believe most businesses would measure activity, which is a very, very good start. Don't get me wrong. But I think the real value will sit when, within the conversations themselves. So again, back to your point about the quality of the conversations. And that's, I think, where I would love people to change their mindset. Sabrina, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really enjoyed the conversation. And look, for anyone listening, please head to motii.co/playbook. If you want to learn more about CloudTalk and how it fits into your connected sales setup. And please also reach out to the Motii team if you have any questions or would like to discuss what the setup could look like in your business. On that note, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Motii team.
That's it for another episode of the Motii Playbook. One shift, one system, one measurable improvement. All information shared in this podcast is general in nature. For tailored advice specific to your business, visit motii.co/playbook and book a momentum call with our team. See you next time.